All right, so we're gonna play some Deadguy Ale. It's our first time playing Historic since the D&D set released, and a lot of the cards in the D&D set aren't non-rotating format playable. The format's a very low power level on average, or the set's a very low power level on average. That being said, these creature lands I think are going to want to go into a bunch of different fair mid-range decks in this format. So we had previously played 4 Blinkmoth Nexus. Now I get to play 8 creature lands here. I'm still leaving in a couple of these because the efficiency on this is really good and the evasion is nice. But I get to play a bunch of these. In fact, I might split these 3-3 because I'm not quite sure which is better. Let's split our basics here too. So this gives us 6, 18 white, and 18 black here. I like it. This also, I previously have been playing some Savvy Triomes. Having fewer colorless lands means I don't have to play those anymore. These are tapped later in the game, but all of our lands are untapped on the first 2 turns. Most are untapped on the first 3, which is nice for how low the curve is in this deck. So let's dive on into some games with Deadguy Ale and see how these creature lands feel in the format. It is. People who are newer to Magic won't really understand what I mean by this, but as someone who's been around Magic for a long time, the constant high-powered sets coming out, making historic and modern and other things like that change a great deal every card release has been exhausting as a long-term player. And it's incredibly refreshing to have a card release that just, like, is largely there because of, or a card release that's largely only playable for standard. Couple of interesting cards for older formats, but largely not overbearing. Opponent is not playing auras. It is a Kira Orphan Guard, likely just Sky Control. So our Skyclave's not very good, but Thalia and Reidane are both great. Terraria. Go, my dude. Enjoy. Enjoy your internet videos. I will enjoy my work, thank you. So we're definitely shocking this. The question is, am I playing a Reidane or am I activating Knight here? I think I'm playing Reidane. I could be right to just activate Knight too, though. They have Deafening Clarion here. I'm really sad playing Reidane. Now, this could be a counter spell. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pump this up. Reidane does make Foretell cards more expensive, yes. So if this is a Doomscar, for instance, they're going to have to pay 6 for it. Because it'll be 3 + 2 + 1. If this is a Behold the Multiverse, they'll have to pay 4 + 1 is 5 for it. The mana value of a card is always the number printed in the corner of that card, regardless of how much mana was spent on it. The only asterisk there is if there is a X in the casting cost, An X spell has a mana value while it's on the stack that includes the X. So now I'll get to go ahead and Inquisition them here. Take Expressive Iteration. And then I'm going to play Adanto Vanguard. So even if this is Doom Boy, they're still dead. I don't think they have any outs here, right? Because they can't Wrath of God. It costs 7 currently. They could cycle this. They could draw a Helix. I might slide out of my chair if they have a Helix here, chat. Nope, ain't gonna do it. Duress in, Despark in. I don't think I want Archon against, I don't think I want Archon against the non-Gear Hulk build. Against Gear Hulk Jeskai, so Gear Hulk Jeskai can't play the Orphan Guard. I like to bring in Archon, but against non-Gear Hulk Jeskai, I don't think so. You think I have a lot of creature lands? I'm only playing 8 creature lands. I could be playing 12. Not a lot of creature lands at all. Well, thanks for the sub-gift, Pierogi. Sorry I missed that one. It was a little bit ago. Our hand's very good against sweepers. Adanto Vanguard, so nice, we'll draw it twice. I am super excited to play... Adanto, to play Sylvan Advocate with these new creature lands, Lambton. You have no idea. It's not, it's like you don't even know. Oro's Charm resolves. Alisar, thanks for the 1.5 years. Welcome back. Yeah, we can play Shambling Vent and then all of these creature lands too. Would have been exciting. Oh, Courtyard would have been untapped. You're right. I missed that. Probably doesn't matter, but thank you for pointing it out. If they cast Wrath of God, we actually kill them next turn, because we save both Vanguards and we fire up the Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Beep, beep! Let's go! Hey, do you have Lightning Helix?
Sorry, I'm late. No time for a break.
Let's have another Helix, chat. Or not? Man, where are all my creature lands at, chat? Oh, they killed them. JK. Also, can we appreciate the fact that I've only had 4 spells this game and 2 of those spells are Thalia?
Let's skip to the good part.
And like, they're at 1. Please cast this Brainstorm. Rats. Imagine if we had drawn a discard spell in 8 turns. Thanks for the 15 months, Cam Will and John Charlie. Welcome back. I know you're doing for people asking about the metagame of the tournament. 2 things. 1, you can look it up on Melee yourself. 2, I'll be posting a Meta Monday this evening talking about standard 2022 events over the weekend. So if you don't want to look it up yourself, you can wait for the video tonight. It'll be up on the YouTube channel. Hey, look, discard spells. This hand really summarizes why discard spells are in such a mediocre spot right now. It's like, it doesn't really matter what I take because their hand is just a bunch of card selection. True, thanks for the follow, Sedum. Our start's pretty good though. Got pressure into pressure. This is a little extra disruption as well. The deck list is available on your screen. You can also type !deck in chat to get a link to the deck list. Yeah, the Hive of the Eye Tyrant was untapped on 2, but it also didn't cast Adanto Vanguard. It honestly could have been right here to just, like, play this tapped and attack for 1. I mean, I could have had Hive of the Eye Tyrant to attack with next turn. I think they were supposed to Expressive Iteration last turn. Probably didn't matter because I had the Thoughtseize. Oh, they're just cycling this. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. The creature lands in Deadguy Ale have been very reasonable. This is where they top deck set on the wreckage. Okay, still dead. God bless. You know, honestly, I'm not even sure if Shambling Vent is better. I'm not sure that Shambling Vent is better than the creature lands this deck is currently playing. Like, the creature lands in here are more aggressive than Shambling Vent. The fact they come into play untapped early is great as well. This hand is very good. We get to go Shock Knight, Shock Second Knight, Thoughtseize, put counters on Knights on 2. We're gonna hurt ourselves a little bit, but we're gonna have a good. How did I decide to split on the creature lands? I put 3 of each of them in because I didn't really have particularly strong feelings about either. There's ups and downsides to both. So, the black creature land is more aggressive than the white creature land. However, the white creature land doesn't die to Lightning Helix, which is very relevant in this format. A little bit of give and take. Nice Doomblade. I took their Narset, because that's most likely to find them a card that interacts with these things. Whereas, like, now I'm just going to, like, play a land, pump this, and, like, crack them for 7. And then we'll crack them for 9 the following turn, ideally. So you're planning to cycle this Fetid Pool? Pretty good. A little punished here for being aggressive. Yeah, I think Kalitas is worse than my other 4-drops linked in. And, like, the Phoenix deck is already playing things like Lightning Axe that can interact with it, so... Valerie, thank you for the Prime support. There's a ton of great people you can send that to every single month here on Twitch. Thanks for sending it this way this month and keeping me employed. Good morning, good morning. Good afternoon. Gosh, it's noon already. The day goes by much quicker when I'm 45 minutes late for work. Normally I don't set an alarm because my 12-month-old wakes me up at like 5:30 to 6:30 every morning, and apparently she slept till 9:45 today. I woke up on my own at 8:15, ate some breakfast, and came to work, and my wife said she didn't wake up until almost 10 o'clock. So, Skyclave Apparition out, some discard spells in. Really know what their threats are. They're playing blue-black control. I think they're a Gearhulk deck. Would I rather have a Despark or Vanishing Verse here? What do we think? Hey, thanks for that, Valari. Tournaments do take a lot of work. What do we think they have that Despark is hitting that Vanishing Verse isn't, chat? Can you explain to me? People are offering opinions. Scarab God and Ashiok. Okay. Yeah, Scarab God's a very reasonable card that I would like to not have exist. 5 mana Ashiok's a little whatever, but Scarab God's a real card with a scary text box. One will definitely shove us in a trash can if it hangs out. Yeah, Sien's great. Not only are these creature lands kind of sweet, but they made a lot of our hands better, because our mana base is better now, because I've got 2 fewer colorless lands. And we're not playing any tapped lands anymore with the cycle lands. I think I lead on a discard spell overnight here, because I want Adanto to have the best chance to survive and take over this game. Interesting. This continuity is strange. So they can Baleful Mastery the Adanto. Ooh, well now we just get to do this. No, they enter untapped if they're one of your first 2 lands. So they're not quite fast lands. They're a little bit slower than those, but they're very good. They are definitely very, very good. I'm gonna Knight into Adanto. Mythic gamers, chat. We are mythic gamers. Guess I should open these packs. I don't have a full set of this set yet. Look at that. Untapped is so great. It says, oh, it disappeared already. 89% set completion. Look at that. 935 out of 1044. Yeah. Technology's great. 89.6%. I want to build a... This is on my list of cards to build around for M22 standard. I think there's probably a Skeletal Swarming deck in that format. I think Pierogi, I'd like to put it in a, just like a ramp control shell, probably. You might even be able to splash it in a 3-color deck. Germany, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. Wellspring. We mulligan no plays till 3. This usually means Niv. It's nice to know, and by nice I mean that despite having taken like a week off from Historic, we've played against 3 control decks in our first 3 matches here, if this is 5-color Niv. And it is. So, Knight of the Ebon Legion ain't picky. Does not care who took 4 damage, just that somebody took 4 damage. So, I paid the life there so that way we could get a counter on this. Seeing a Resurgence of Goblins. Cute. So, their current hand is awful, so I'm excited for them to top deck and destroy us. We take Maelstrom Pulse here, huh? It's castable with any 3rd land. Nice discard spells, by the way. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. This game is a good example of something I frequently talk about, which is I'll often hear people say, oh, I had to mulligan. No, you got to mulligan. Mulliganing is a privilege, chat. It's something that's beneficial for you to be doing. Our first hand here had lands and spells, but definitely wasn't good. We were appropriately rewarded for taking it and spiking it into a trash can. Alright, so Skyclave, Apparition, out, Duress, in. Our sideboard plan against control decks is basically the same. We're mostly pre-boarded for control. We cut these cards that don't target anything. We bring in a couple of Desparks and a couple more discard spells. We click submit. One, two, three. Our lands are untapped. We. Thalia here stops them from getting value off an expressive iteration, which is nice. That one will be tapped, but that's fine. That one can be tapped. Ain't that a bag of dicks? I am not playing the second knight here because Maelstrom Pulse has text. Yeah, and the Black-Green Elves deck for M22 is very reasonable. If you like that archetype, it's definitely worth watching on YouTube later if you missed it. Again, paying 4 life for my Adanto here to trigger my Knight of the Ebon Legion. If they can't play Niv this turn, we might have a chance, but if they have untapped lands Niv, we're probably dead. Okay, that's great for us. Hopefully they just draw this and then they take a big hit next turn. So they have... Oh, they have a piece of removal here. Could just be Lightning Helix. I'm going to fire up Blinkmoth and attack to start, see what they do. I'm not going to pump the Knight. Could also just be Vanishing Verse. Fuck yeah. Don't know that we're going to be able to beat Niv coming down next turn. It's going to have to hit real unlucky for them. Yeah. Yeah, Niv Reborn's a tier 1 deck in most formats, but die rolls Rude Magic. Never forget. Eye of the Eye Tyrant. It didn't matter, chat. We hit them for 3 regardless, and we were still dead regardless. Spend less time focusing on things that don't matter and more time thinking about things that do. Like being slightly luckier and hoping they don't hit 2 removal spells off of Niv. Let's draw a white source, huh? It honestly could be right to, it could be right to cut all the Blinkmoth Nexuses and just play 4 of each of the other creature lands. From a fixing perspective. White source on time. Got that going for us. Part where they play land and then Deafening Clarion and we cry a little bit. So I'm not playing Knight of the Ebon Legion here because there's 1 card in my graveyard, and I don't want them to be able to drown it. I should have attacked with this. No, I guess if I attack with this, they drown that. Second Adanto's pretty good. Could potentially let us truck through what they have going on here. Yes, after this deck, we're gonna play for another 45 minutes or so of Historic, and then we're gonna be starting Biomutant as my next variety game this afternoon. So I think -4ing myself in this position is actually wrong, because if they have another sweeper, that wouldn't be ideal. I didn't play Reidane because I don't think that they want to play Teferi next turn anyways. I think they want a Helix like that, yeah. They also didn't guaranteed have the other land. So. Getting the sticky threats into play has a lot of value here, especially when their deck has discard spells in it. Well, I guess they probably don't have discard in post-board against me. I would wager that's what they trim for their cards that play to the board. So, Reidane's gonna get taken out back and drowned in the lock. The Vanguards and Blinkmoth put her to 3, or put the opponent to 3, which means that single Vanguard is lethal next turn, or double Vanguard is lethal through a Helix. Okay. He's dead, Jim. Anything else? They don't have a second white, so they can't Helix here. They could play an untapped land, and they could cling something. Ooh, goodbye, friend. How have the historic games been going? It's more of the same, mostly. We're playing some of the creature lands from the new set, but outside of the creature lands being small upgrades for things, the D&D set won't really impact much. We've played 3 matches of Magic and played against 3 different control decks that were all playing Brainstorm or Expressive Iteration. Some of them playing both. I don't know. That's fine. I think decks like this Deadguy Ale deck are very reasonable into this field of control decks, but it's just very difficult to brew and have fun into a field of control. Because the types of decks, there's so many decks in Historic, and this is honestly like my summary for formats that are good or bad in general, is there's just so many of the best decks in Historic right now don't care about attacking or blocking, that it makes it hard to brew. Because the range of cards you have to play when attacking and blocking don't matter is incredibly narrow. Because the list of cards that can be impactful when you're not attacking or blocking is very small. Go first. What am I bottoming here? It's Glint-Sleeve. Could be Vanguard too, though. I think I keep both of these. There's something that plays to the board. We want Skyclave. Holy gosh, chat, we found a creature deck. Probably not a coincidence that the person we found playing a creature deck is 92%. And do it their fair share of getting beat up. In my opinion, formats where control decks are tier 1 and omnipresent are bad Magic formats, yes. You are welcome to disagree with that subjective opinion, but That is how I feel. So 14 months, Noxon, welcome back. Trade early, trade often, shit. Yes, you can. Spellbinder says they may play that card, so they can play Shadow Skull Smashing as a tapped land without paying any mana. Definitely wish my Adanto Vanguards were a different card in this matchup. They're very good in all those control matchups we just played, but very mediocre here. Gonna trade off aggressively and try and keep my life total high. Yeah. Yeah. You can see the deck list on your screen via the untapped overlay widget, or you can type !deck in chat to get a direct link to the deck list. If you ever have any questions about what we're currently playing. So, Thoughtseize out, Adanto Vanguard out. Thalia's kind of mediocre here, too. I only have one Baneslayer in this sideboard. That might be wrong. She's really, really good in this matchup. It's like a Johnny's not amazing either. Yeah, maybe I want a second Baneslayer since my main deck is so skewed towards beating control with the Thalias and the Adantos. Really solid curve here for us. What card is bugged on Arena? I'm kind of curious now. So I'm cast downing my card here because it lets me use my resources for the turn, and it means their Bone Crusher goes to the bin. You can type !decks in chat to get a link to my profile with all of my deck lists. Trust me, chat. If there's something, if you think of asking a question, and it's a question you think there's a chance other people have wanted to ask before, I promise you there's a chat command for it. We probably just race in the air at this point with Vanishing Verse, huh? And actually, if we draw an untapped land next turn, Ajani gives us a 2-turn clock. It's not terrible there.
Look how far.
French. You may kill my Ajani on your way out the door. They are playing Questing Beast, which I think the inclusion of Questing Beast and multiple Ember Cleaves, is it crazy to put multiple Despark in my deck? Probably not, huh? Brought in one as a small hedge for game 2. Alright, Baneslayer, you're gonna need to have a strong back this game. They have a good start, there's a good chance we just die. Really hoping to draw a removal spell here. Yeah, Buck Collector to BTE probably means we're just dead. Yeah, it's one of their best starts possible. Need a 2-mana player, I'm gonna concede. I think our deck as constructed at the moment is not well set up for aggro. Let's figure that out. So based on my current deck against aggro, I want to cut a lot of cards against aggro. It's like the Thoughtseizes go, the Vanguards go, the Ajani's go, and like at least 2 of the Thalias go. Honestly, I wouldn't mind getting rid of all of them, but like this is already 12 cards. Like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in my board for the aggressive matchup, so I probably want more sideboard cards for aggro. I think I want the Desparks and the Duress for the control. We boarded those in every time, but I think I want the other 11 cards in my board to be good against aggro. Honestly, with all these creature lands and like me maining Adanto Vanguards, maybe I don't want the Ajani's in my main deck anymore. Maybe I'd rather have the Ajani's be a hedge for the aggressive matchups. With 8 creature lands and 4 Thalia for Adanto. What if we like put a Baneslayer in the main? I could just like main 2 Baneslayers. She's honestly like our best card in the aggressive matchups. And like we're hedging the control matchups with these. And she isn't stone cold terrible against like 5-color Niv either. Because she gets to attack past Niv the turn they play it. Because she's protection from dragons. I don't hate that. Just another decent evasive threat too. We could also, yeah, she's decent against Phoenix. We could also play something like Gonti in this top end slot. Gonti's a card that's like fine against, honestly good against control in a lot of spots, but it's good against control, but it's also much better against aggro. Triumphant Adventurer. One has Death Touch all the time, right? I might actually be okay. Casting a black card consistently on 2 is not something we're always going to be doing. It's also, like, only okay against aggro. It's not really good. People in chat that are shouting out random cards now, like Westgate Regent, Nardlet, this is your warning. If you want to suggest a random bad card, tell me why you think it's good. Otherwise, it's just a random bad card suggestion. We're also, if you haven't been paying attention, I'm explicitly looking for cards that are decent against aggro. So, like, for example, this is a card that could be decent against aggro because it's effectively a 2-mana removal spell in a lot of spots. But the fact that you can venture against the control decks every turn is actually kind of sweet, right? Like, Tomb of Annihilation with this card against control, you get to, like, okay, it basically attacks for 2 the first time, and then it attacks for 3, and then it makes a 4/4, is the way I would think about this card against control. So, I actually don't really hate this suggestion, because it's, like, fine to trade against aggro, and it's, like, decent into control. I guess the problem is, like, a lot of the aggro decks in this format are stomp decks, so it just dies to that. I think I prefer Baneslayer Angel. Like, this card is like a 1-card win the game against things like Gruul a lot of the time. And because we have these cheap cards that are really good against control, I think having a couple of cards that, like, dunk aggro at the top end sound really good. That being said, I love how I think we do still want extra cards for the board. Like, do I need Archon of Emeria against Phoenix? I probably don't with a bunch of Vanishing Verses and Desparks. I think I just want some extra removal spells in here. I think these will be my anti-control cards. I have Thalia and Vanguard are also decent game 1 against control. For people that are suggesting individually bad cards, please stop. My deck's a mid-range deck. I want cards that have decent rates and are reasonable on their own for the most part. I think I'm happy with the main deck. I'm going to put a couple more cards in the sideboard. That kill things. Honestly, I could see Gonti being a card we put in the board. Because Gonti's a card that's decent against aggro, and it's good against control. And my previous plan against control had been cut 4 Skyclave for 2 Duress and 2 Despark. But now I'm going to want to cut Skyclave and Baneslayer. So I technically want 6 cards to bring in there. You know, let's put 2 Gontis in the board. I like that. And this will come in in most matchups, I think. Just, like, trim whichever cards are not good there and bring in this where it's okay everywhere, basically. Adventure is definitely not better than Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. Glint-Sleeve is very good. I think the Adventurer is worse than the other cards we're playing, chat. That's why I'm not playing it. I think it's a neat idea, but ultimately lower quality than everything else we have going on. I don't know if Gonti is Rankle a reasonable substitution. It is not. Because Gonti is good against aggro, like we just talked about, whereas Rankle is very bad there. If we bought him a land, is that too greedy? Is it too greedy or is it just greedy enough? I think we go Concealed into Night, and then we can run back the old Shock Myself, Thoughtseize, Pump My Knight on 2. Baneslayer is better than a Lyra because Baneslayer has protection from dragons, and protection from dragons is relevant against Sprite Dragon when you are playing against Phoenix, and it is relevant against 5-color Niv for attacking past their 6/6. I'm gonna attack with this as a 5 because I want to get it up to 3/4. It's sweet that we queued into Grull again, though. Get to immediately try out our changes that we made. See how some of them feel potentially. Oh no, don't disconnect, opponent. I really want to play this match. Come back, please. Sedge. Oh, they're back. Sweet. Are you getting priority? Wonder if they have a Drew of the Bone Crusher Giant. Step on me here. Yes, Declan. Mario Odyssey. You know, you could play these games too, instead of just watching other people play them. Can you believe that, chat? Who wants to watch other people play games? He's so strange.
Bye, chat.
Unfathomable. So, I think I'm gonna attack with this and pump up the GM. And then play the second Knight of the Ebon Legion here. Your Deadguy Ale deck definitely wants creature lands. I'll take 3. Yeah, Protector Shield looking pretty good here. Yeah, rare lands in general are some of the safest crafts you can have in Magic. Magic Arena. They're pretty likely to see play. close game here. And these types of games are why I greatly prefer when Gruul is the best deck in a format compared to Jeskai Control, because like games where attacking and blocking matter, I think are just some of the best games in Magic. If I don't chump the Bone Crusher, I die to the Hazoret activation next turn. I'm gonna be dead to their attack next turn anyways, though, right? It's a shame we have to block here and can't double block here. We're 1 point of life short. No, they're at 6. This only pumps for 3. Don't you kill on the backswing. Chat! I know it's noon, but it's not even early anymore. It's almost 1 o'clock. Yeah, close game. I mean, so for people that don't understand how these formats work, people commenting it's neat to just still see people still playing Gruul. People just play decks that they like playing in these formats, even when they're not good. So, like, the ladder isn't really representative of people playing decks that are good or things seeing play on the ladder. Doesn't mean they're reasonable. What you need to look at to know if decks are competitive and what's decent is look at how performance rates are inside of tournament settings. Another thing to acknowledge is that decks like Gruul are better on the ladder than they are in tournaments because you get to punk people out randomly in game ones. Yeah, perhaps I should have gone to 1 on an earlier turn. That left me dead to Embercleave and Bone Crusher Giant, but perhaps it was correct to take that line anyways. Yeah, Gruul got some upgrades in creature lands for themselves, as well as I think the new Wolfpack card is pretty good in Gruul, but I would be surprised if it's still capable of keeping up with Phoenix and the Indomitable Creativity decks and Jeskai Control. We'll probably play updated Gruul on stream here sometime this week or next week. But it is worth noting that, like, this archetype was getting really outclassed in actual tournament settings. I don't know why the Red-White Knight would be good. Can you explain why you think it's good? I don't think there is a compelling reason to play a control deck in Historic that does not play Lightning Helix. I would love to turn your 2/2 into a 1/1. Oh, they're in a Tarka's Command deck. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Neat. Ah, yes. The classic Atarka's Command Hazoret the Fervor Collected Company deck. What are the odds there's an Embercleave in their 60 right now as well? High? Strong chance they're also playing Embercleave. Acid Pip, thanks for the 20 buttons. I appreciate the support. Welcome back. 8 mana Collecting Company. Diolorino. Alright, so they drew a Tarkus command. I'm gonna be a coward. They punked me, chat. I cannot block warriors on this day of days. Our dojo contained fear. I let the fear inside. Another blocker here. Man, we're really not good at drawing lands in our 20. Would you believe, watching these games, chat, that we're a 26 land deck? I don't know that I believe it after watching these games. You assume 22. No, I like casting my spells, unlike most people in Twitch chat. Creature lands are great, chat. Play more creature lands, play more total lands. Thank me later. Yeah, Cian's lovely. Got 4 lands towards this Baneslayer Angel. Alright, step on me, daddy. Yeah, we registered 30 lands in the black-red deck. I played in the Standard 2020 tournament over the weekend. It was a 30 land deck. Listen, chat, I'm not sure that you will find anybody else on Twitch streaming that loves utility lands as much as I love utility lands. I don't think I've ever met a... Listen, speaking as the first and only person to top 8 a major standard tournament with Grim Backwoods in my deck, I've never met a utility land I didn't like, okay? Oh man, 4 mana and no plays. Pretty unlucky. Okay, Baneslayer Angel. You got a strong back, gal. Pick this game up. I need a carry. It's all you, baby. We got a chip and a chair, a hope and a prayer, chat. No! Get the way they massacred my gal. We're dead to an Atarka's command here, right? This is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus 7. And that, honestly, like, I don't know. I think I'm happy with where we ended up here. But I do feel like that set at the end there especially, the range of that set highlighted kind of the frustration of the control decks being so good in this format. Like, we had 3 close sets against control decks where we were competitive, but the things I have to do to my deck, the number of main deck good anti-control cards I have to be playing in order to be good there, just leaves us so far behind in these creature matchups that, like, you just get squeezed, and it's a tough sell. It's a hard knock life being a mid-range deck in Historic right now because of how high power level the control decks have been pushed thanks to the Strixhaven archive. So I think I'm happy with where we're at. I think, I don't think the Gruul matchup's impossible, but I think it's definitely difficult with, no, Historic just doesn't have a lot of mid-range in general, Symbol. It's a very polarized format at the extreme. So the best decks tend to be either very controlling decks like Jeskai or things that get under you. And honestly, the Jeskai control decks are good enough that even things like Gruul that we just got dumpstered by, they tend to have a very bad Jeskai control matchup. There aren't a lot of people sitting in the middle. You consider Niv Reborn to be mid-range. Maybe in Modern, it's a mid-range deck, but in Historic, it's definitely a control deck. It's very, very threat-light. It generates a lot of card advantage. I don't have enough experience with Niv Reborn in Modern, where it's more rampy, but in Historic, as opposed to playing ramp spells, it plays a bunch of discard spells, and then it plays a bunch of card advantage, and then it eventually kills you. We played against Niv today. Our first 3 matches were all control decks. So, I think I'm happy with this. The creature lands definitely felt like solid upgrades, not only because they gave us more ways to attack, but also because they're ways to attack that give us fixing. Like I had been playing 4 Blinkmoth Nexus in previous iterations, and getting to play creature lands that attack in my mana base that, are able to color fix for us felt very good, especially the fact that these are untapped creature lands. Like, for a long time, I have been, like, saying I'm excited for Shambling Vent to come to Historic to add to this deck, and honestly, after playing with these, I think there's a very good chance that, like, Hive of the Eye Tyrant and Cave of the Frost Dragon are better than Shambling Vent would have been in a deck like this. So, for people that are new to the channel, like Silent Gathering, thanks for the follow. We do Magic Arena here every late morning to early afternoon like this. We're going to be focusing on Standard 22 and Historic all this week. I think my plan basically for the summer is like do 1 Standard 2022 deck, 1 Historic deck every day, and then 1 Modern deck in the morning. So we'll do 3 Magic decks a day with 3 different formats, get a good range in. My plan specifically for this week, and I think we're going to be shoving creature lands from Forgotten Realms into a variety of different Historic decks that I've liked in the past. I think tomorrow we might actually try Gruul. I think adding creature lands to that deck's a pretty decent upgrade, and maybe the creature lands could give that deck enough play against control, but you prefer playing against tap out control or Jeskai control, tap out or Drago control like Jeskai? I don't know. I mean, Jeskai control doesn't even have that many counterspells in it in a lot of the configuration, so I don't really know if there's a meaningful difference between the two in terms of play patterns. They both tend to push the format to extremes. Alright, at any rate, at the end of my streams, after we play 3 Magic decks each day, we do some variety gaming.